Lessons from the elephant, 30 soulful truths that grounded my life. She didn't need to announce her strength. Her presence, steady, grounded, was enough. In a world that rushed, she moved like time belonged to her. And in her silence I found something I'd never heard before: peace. She carried her memories, not as wounds, but as wisdom. Her every step echoed where she'd been, and who she'd become. She reminded me, you don't heal by forgetting. You heal by walking forward with everything you've survived. Her body could shatter trees, yet she nudged life with the softest touch. That's what moved me most. True strength, she taught me, is not what you can break, it's what you choose to protect. She never left her own behind, not in drought, not in danger. Her loyalty was heavy, but she bore it proudly. She showed me that love isn't light, it's a responsibility you choose, again and again. She didn't run from loss. She stood over the bones of her past and mourned. She cried without shame. She waited in stillness. And when she walked on, she carried nothing but remembrance and grace. She didn't trust quickly, but when she did, she never forgot your scent. Her bond was more than closeness. It was memory wrapped in loyalty. She taught me, protect your circle like it's part of your own body. Her steps were slow, but never unsure. She didn't stomp to be heard. She walked like the ground trusted her. And I learned, confidence isn't noise, it's presence. She stopped in the middle of the dust and sun. Not because she was tired, but because she sensed someone couldn't keep up. She showed me that leadership is waiting, not rushing ahead. She forgot nothing: paths, faces, wounds, love. Her memory was sacred and never used to punish, only to guide, only to guard. She reminded me, remember, not to hurt, but to honor. Where others broke, she stood. Even when the land cracked and the sky offered no mercy, she stood. Her story wasn't spotless, it was sacred because it was survived, and that made her unforgettable. She didn't rush through storms. She stood still, ears wide, feeling the wind before she moved. Her strength wasn't in her pace, it was in her patience. She taught me, not every silence is weakness, some silences are wisdom. She remembered the loss of water, the betrayal of poachers, the call of a child that never came back. But she didn't live inside her pain. She carried it, with dignity, and somehow, her eyes still softened when the rain returned. She didn't roar, she didn't claim, but when others fell, she lifted, her trunk wrapping around them with quiet care. She showed me that support doesn't have to shout. Real love steadies you in silence. She could have crushed everything in her path, but she didn't, because peace wasn't her weakness, it was her choice. She showed me that gentleness is the greatest form of control. Each fold on her face was a place she'd walked, a hunger she'd known, a child she'd mourned, but she wore them with grace. She reminded me, aging is not something to hide. It's the story of survival etched into skin. She didn't crowd, she stood near, but never too close. She taught me that real love respects space, and sometimes presence without pressure is the kindest gift. When danger came near, she didn't hesitate. She stood between the threat and the ones she loved. Not to be brave, but because she couldn't not protect. She taught me, courage isn't loud. It's instinct when love matters more than fear. Every step she took was with reverence. Her feet pressed into the dust like she remembered what the earth had survived. She reminded me, don't just walk through life, connect to it. Let your presence be gentle, but never forget your weight. She didn't roar often, but when she did, even the air changed. Because when someone who is always calm finally speaks, the world listens. She didn't collapse in exhaustion. She folded into peace, slowly, deliberately. She showed me that rest isn't earned by breaking yourself. It's something sacred you give your body, because it's already done enough. She didn't forget the ones who were kind when she was small or lost or weak. Years later she still returned to the same place, the same soul. She taught me, gratitude doesn't need grand gestures, just never letting go. She didn't hide her sorrow. When one of her own fell, she stood for hours, days, in silence. She touched the bones, she wept, and in doing so she taught me that grief is not weakness, it's memory honoring love. While the herd panicked, she stood still, remembering rivers long dried but never forgotten. And when she began to walk, they followed. She taught me, wisdom is not in knowing everything, it's in knowing where to look when no one else does. She was thunder and shadow, but also shade and stillness. She reminded me, we are not one thing. You can be powerful and gentle, grieving and growing, all at once. She didn't chase power, but when she stood in a space, the space changed. She taught me that true impact is not in motion, but in meaning. No one gave her books. She learned from droughts, from loss, from years that broke and built her. She didn't explain what she knew, she showed it, and I understood. Real wisdom isn't said, it's felt. The world gave her reasons to harden, but still, she nudged life with kindness, moved with care. Her gentleness wasn't innocence, it was choice, and that made it more powerful than any roar. She didn't chase applause, but the path behind her was softened by her footprints, and long after she was gone, the herd still moved with her rhythm. She taught me, your energy lives longer than your name. In the rush to do, she paused. In the urgency to speak, she waited, and when everything cracked, it was her silence that held the ground together. She reminded me, stillness isn't absence, it's awareness. She didn't vanish. She faded into the same sun she stood in all her life, and somehow I knew, what she left behind wasn't empty, it was a presence, a pulse, a truth that would never leave me. In her silence, she crafted a legacy. Each moment, each breath, each glance, imbued with a wisdom that words could never capture. Her actions were whispers to the soul, guiding, nurturing, loving. Though her voice was quiet, her impact resounds through the corridors of time, echoing in the hearts she touched. A legacy not written in books, but etched in the essence of those who knew her. Gap 3S. In the quiet moments, her presence is felt the most. The echo of her silence speaks louder than words ever could. It is in these pauses, these interludes between life's chaos, that her wisdom finds us. She taught us that sometimes the most profound truths are found not in what is said, but in what is felt. Her silence was a symphony, a melody that continues to play in our hearts, reminding us that true strength lies in quiet resilience. She never spoke a word, yet she grounded my soul forever. Subscribe to Growth with Nature for more quiet truths from life's gentlest giants. Share this if your soul still listens to what silence says.